Welcome to the channel. I trust that you're doing well. There has been some more Bitcoin accumulation happening under the hood. A mystery buyer coming in and buying $64 million worth of Bitcoin. We have some other notable Bitcoin accumulators as well. But could all of this be leading to a supply shock? How is the supply of Bitcoin holding up on exchanges? We'll take a look at some charts, we'll look at some posts regarding that, and we'll take a look at the price action of Bitcoin as well. Could there be a supply crunch coming up in the future? Let's get into the video. And here on CoinMarketCap, we can see a little bit of green mixed in with the red. Over here on the right hand side, we see some green line charts mixed amongst the red ones, but not a heck of a lot going on here. For Bitcoin, we do see in the last 7 days, it is up 3.37%. We see Ethereum down 0.17%. And down here for Solana, we can see that it is up 1.39% on the week. So some minor gains are to be had in there, but nothing too spectacular. We can see that the overall market cap is at 3.26 trillion, which is actually down 0.64%. And we see the 24-hour trade volume at 98.33 billion, which is actually down 2.61%. And we can see here that Bitcoin dominance is coming in at 65.1%. If we pop over to the Bitcoin dominance chart, we see that it still remains in a bullish posturing right here, and it does look like it's signaling to move a little bit higher. And as the market moves up, moves down, Bitcoin has been the star as all eyes are on Bitcoin right now. And makes sense. I mean, Bitcoin is the king, and par for the course that Bitcoin does all the moves first, and then altcoins will typically benefit later. But as it looks right now inside this chart, it does look like Bitcoin dominance is ready to move a little bit higher sometime over the midterm. And here's an interesting chart. This is posted by Bitcoin Magazine. And it says, just in, Bitcoin supply on exchanges has fallen to a new low. Bullish, says Bitcoin Magazine, and I tend to agree with that. We can see the price of Bitcoin here in this yellow line chart just marching its way higher and higher. And in green, we can see the balance that's held on exchanges that's just been in a steady decrease this whole way through and currently reaching new lows. And some are suggesting that this could lead to a really big supply shock for Bitcoin, which makes sense to me. I mean, with supply drying up the way it is, you have sovereigns stepping into this, you have treasuries, institutions are loading their bags. I mean, when we get to a place where we understand what the Federal Reserve is going to do with their policies, when we're through all this tariff stuff, when we have some trade agreements that are reached and there's more clarity in these markets, if people come rushing back into this and Bitcoin is just simply not available in the same way it was in the past, that could cause a very big supply shock and could be very fun to watch. So this is pretty cool. It's worth paying attention to. I mean, supply and demand. If the supply is not there, it's going to bid the price up very high, and it could be quite interesting in Q3, Q4. So we'll pay attention to that for sure. And here's a post from Cointelegraph. Bullish, a whale just bought 64 million worth of Bitcoin. And if we click on this image down below, we can see that transaction right here up at the top. Again, I mean, massive buys are coming in as that supply is drying up. If we click over here to Watch Your Guru, just in, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says, we're buying more Bitcoin every week, long Bitcoin, says Brian Armstrong. So although I don't have a strong opinion as to necessarily what Bitcoin's price action does in the very short term, like some people are saying July is going to be awesome or July is going to suck and we're going to have the summer doldrums or whatever, I'm not too concerned about that. For the long term, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. And what we can see is people just continuing to accumulate with very big buys as that supply continues to dry up. I mean, once we get clarity on the Fed's position and their policies in the near future here, and the trade wars and the tariffs, then it could be game on to the upside. So we'll pay attention to that. So short term, I don't have a strong bias, whether Bitcoin goes up, goes down, not worried about it. Over the long term, I think this leads to some serious supply shocks and Bitcoin moving to much higher levels. So let's quickly take a look at the price action of Bitcoin. We'll do that on a daily time frame here inside TradingView. And we can see that Bitcoin, again, hasn't done a heck of a lot today, just printing this tiny little candle here, and the daily candle still has about 4 hours remaining from the time of making this video. Bears are likely still on low or high watch in this territory, because if Bitcoin was to roll from here, it would keep this midterm downtrend intact ever since printing that all-time high back on May 22nd. If bears are able to take control of this price action and bring Bitcoin down to a lower low, the first area I'd be watching is right around that daily 200 simple moving average. That's the white line right here. and that's coming in currently at about 96,000. So somewhere between 96,000, mid 96,000 is an area that I'd be paying attention to, assuming the bears are able to take control in the short term here. For a bullish bias, I think a takeout of this pivot right here would be, at the very least, that's coming in at about 110,000. So if Bitcoin was to work its way up, start closing some dailies above this level here, on good volume, mind you, down below, then the bulls would likely be signaling that, hey, they're taking over this chart and Bitcoin's getting ready to move to much higher levels. Some people speculate that we might get a good July, so maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. I kind of think that things are going to get really interesting for crypto probably towards the end of Q3 and into Q4. I think by then there will be less uncertainty about the trade wars and tariff stuff, as well as the Fed policy that's currently in place right now. I'm thinking end of Q3, Q4, markets will have a little bit more clarity as to what's going on, and we'll have some more interesting times. All the uncertainty that exists in the markets right now is literally the kiss of death. I mean, there could be good news, there could be bad news, but at the end of the day, traders and investors want certainty. They want to know what they're working with so that they can balance their portfolios or place their trades. When there's so much uncertainty, it's literally the kiss of death for markets. Markets hate that more than anything else. And right now, we're just still kind of in that uncertain time. If we drop down below and take a look at some of the momentum, we can see that the daily stochastic is strongly to the upside. It's getting into the bullish control zone currently. But the problem I have with that right now is we're seeing that the momentum is curling up quite aggressively, but the price of the asset really isn't doing much. So it's basically, it's paddling in a rowboat, but it's not getting anywhere. So at the end of the day, the momentum just kind of seems to be resetting, at least in its current posturing. Dropping down to the RSI, we do see that the RSI was in the bearish control zone. It got spat right back out, getting above the EMA here, and it's just kind of in the neutral zone as well. So no real strong reads from the RSI. It has room to go up, but it also has room to come back down if bears were to take over. If we drop down below to the MACD, we see that the moving average convergence divergence has recently reset itself back down to the neutral zone. There is a fresh cross to the upside, but it's not a very strong cross. We see a little bit of green coming in on the histogram here, so a tiny little island of momentum, but the last couple times we've seen that have been really insignificant. So again, there's no major signals present here. Also coming into the weekend, I just simply don't trust the price action of Bitcoin over the weekend. A lot of manipulation happens. There can be liquidity grabs as the price shoots up or shoots down. So I don't expect a heck of a lot that is that I would consider convincing for price action over the weekend. But as it sits right now, we do still have that midterm downtrend ever since the all-time high. If bears are able to roll the price action over from here, that trend would remain intact, and perhaps we could see a downside target around that 200. Remains to be seen. We'll just take this thing level by level. But anyway, as it sits right now, Bitcoin really isn't doing much once again. It's kind of in that lower high territory. That's worth paying attention to. If it does roll from here and move down to that $96,000 level, I wouldn't necessarily be bearish. I might even try a trade down there. We'll see if and when we get there first. And there you have it, everyone. There is your update for today coming into the weekend. What are your thoughts? Are you bullish on Bitcoin? Are you bearish? Where do you think this whole thing's going? Do you think we're going to see down around that $96,000 mark? Are we going lower? Or do you think July is going to be a green month and things are just going to be a rocket ship to the upside? Would love to know your thoughts, so please share them with me down below. Thanks so much for coming by and checking out this video, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. And until I do, have yourself a powerful day.